Please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Fdny Color Guard.
Detail, 10 hot.
Please remain standing for the national anthem sung by Firefighter Regina Wilson.
Detail, hand salute.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready, shoot.
Please remain standing as Fdny Chaplain Monsignor Mark Felechione delivers the invocation.
Lord God, protector of your people, as we begin this morning what promises each year to be a memorable and moving ceremony, we thank you by whom all courage is sustained for the contributions which the members of this department make each day as they serve so fearlessly and faithfully the citizens of the 5 boroughs of this great city of New York. Today, we thank you especially for your presence with us and for the inspiration and strength you gave these firefighters and members of the emergency medical service, which we honor by their heroic acts of bravery. May the deeds we again commemorate this day remind us at what a great price our safety has been achieved. Bless our medal winners, their families and associates. May their continued commitment and dedication to their work inspire each of us present to be more sincerely dedicated to our work and individual roles in life. Amen.
Thank you, Monsignor. Retire the colors. Everyone, please be seated.
Detail at ease.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Captain Timothy Smith of Engine 227, and it is an honor to serve as Master of Ceremonies on such a proud day for this department. On behalf of Mayor Eric Adams, Acting Fire Commissioner Laura Cavanaugh, Acting Chief of Department John Hodgins, our staff chiefs, union officials, executive staff, and elected officials, I would like to welcome you all to today's FDNY Medal Day ceremony. A special welcome to all of today's medal winners. You make us proud. We are also honored to have a number of medal donors as well as the families of medal recipients joining us today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our first speaker, the Acting Fire Commissioner, Laura Cavanaugh.
Good morning. Thank you to everyone joining us here today as we honor and celebrate the extraordinary work of our firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, fire and EMS officers, dispatchers, and fire marshals. Medal Day is always the best day of the year in our department, and it is such a great feeling to be back here on the steps of City Hall, where Medal Day belongs, to recognize such incredibly heroic acts of valor by the men and women of the FDNY. So thank you to the mayor and everybody at City Hall for hosting us today. Let's give them a round of applause. And welcome to the family, friends, brothers, and sisters of our honorees. Your energy, support, and joy is what makes this such a special event. Over the next hour, you will hear remarkable stories, moments when New Yorkers cried out for help, and the FDNY answered that call, when families were trapped by flames and our firefighters bravely crawled past those flames to find them and bring them to safety, and times when patients were in desperate need of medical care and our EMTs and paramedics arrived to render aid in extremely dangerous conditions. Every day, FDNY members courageously risk their lives to save others and to rescue them from harm. Among the stories of heroism today and the many awards that will be presented, it is a new medal to be awarded for the first time this year, the Yadira Arroyo Medal, named for EMT Yadira Arroyo, whose life was cruelly taken in the line of duty in 2017. Several of our medals are named for those who gave their lives in service to others. People like firefighters Lawrence Fitzpatrick and Gerard Frisbee, and EMTs Christopher J. Prescott and Tracy Allen Lee. This new medal, named in honor of EMT Yadira Arroyo, is a renewal of our promise to never forget her and the amazing life of service she led. Her family is also here with us today, so let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations to the inaugural recipients of this medal, EMTs Tiffany Robledo and Christopher Wania, and Lieutenant Dwight Scott, for their well-deserved recognition, for not only stopping a dangerous individual who is harming others, but for then treating the seriously injured patients with the utmost care and compassion. You truly went above and beyond, and in doing so, you were honoring the memory of EMT Yadira Arroyo. And when we speak of medals named for those who gave their life for our city, there is, of course, legendary Chief of Department Peter J. Gansey, whose name lives on in so many ways in the FDNY, including our highest medal awarded to a firefighter each year. Congratulations to firefighter Darren Harsh of Squad 270, who receives this prestigious award named for one of the bravest of the brave, for his rescue of a fellow firefighter from a major collapse inside a burning building in Queens. To save the life of anyone is an incredible act. To save the life of a fellow member is another level of gratification and reward for our members, and several of them are honored along with firefighter Harsh today for their tremendous life-saving efforts at that fire. To all of our members honored today, thank you for your extraordinary bravery. I know you will all say again and again, I was just doing my job, and that is true, but you did so much more. The impact of your acts will be felt by the people you saved across the city for generations to come, and someone will thank someone in uniform today because of what they saw here at this ceremony. You demonstrated once again why the FDNY is truly the best fire department in the world. Thank you all. Congratulations once again. Enjoy the celebration and the day, and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Commissioner Cavanaugh. Next, we will hear from the Mayor of the City of New York, Mr. Eric Adams.
I want to start my comments with a question. How many of you here in the audience, how many of you are mothers of firefighters? Just raise your hands. You were the one that got my attention. As I was watching you, I thought about my mother, who transitioned last year when I was campaigning. I remember retiring, walking off the stage, and hugging Mommy. And I felt the full weight of her body in my arms. She did every one of the 22 years that I did as a police officer. My younger brother, Bernard, Mom would not sleep until she heard from us and knew that we got home safe. And although we're honoring the men and women who carry out the courageous duties, doing it because we felt it was the right thing to do, there's something special about a mother of a firefighter or a police officer or EMT or EMS. They realize every morning when their son or daughter performs their tour of duty, they realize at any moment someone can knock at the door and say their baby's not coming home. But in spite of that, they hold rosemary beads, they pray, they hope that they can reach a point that they can finish their career and go on with their lives. So this is a moment for them as well. This is a moment to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the families who are here. Thank you for these babies who are sitting on the laps of their moms and dad and grandparents. That they don't get the full clarity and understanding of what this moment represents, but with time, they're going to reflect on this. And thank you. Yes, this is home of the free and the land of the brave, and that's why we call it the bravest. And I just want to ask you to do something for me today that I'm going to continue to say every time I'm in front of a microphone. Let's go home and read the Pledge of Allegiance. I think we've lost who we are as a country. I'm proudly to pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. This is who we are. This is who we are. I say this over and over again. This is an American moment. These are American families. These are American heroes. It doesn't matter if you're on the military field fighting a battle of international warfare, or if you're dealing with domestic violence right here. We should never allow people to interpret who we are. Yes, bombs burst in air gave proof through the night that our flag is still here. Our flag is here because of these men and women that we're honoring today. Many of them are part of the military or former members of the military. You're in the armed services. You're ready to lead, ready to lead. And we're not perfect. We're not perfect, and we don't have to be. Because valor is not perfection, it's dedication, it's commitment, it's loving what you do. And I love being the mayor of the city of New York because I love the people that are in the city of New York. And so we honor you today. We know the commitment and sacrifices. And you know what? We don't always get it right. We don't always get it right. But today we're getting it right. We're saying to the men and women that put their lives on the front line, thank you, thank you. And we're saying it not as a ceremonial moment, but from the bottom of our heart, thank you. I saw the fire in the Bronx. I saw the soot and smoke on the firefighters that came out. I was there on Queens when you lost one of your heroes. I watch every day as my EMTs and EMS members go and respond to dangerous environments. So words may not mean a lot, but it's meaningful today. So to the firefighters who are here at this impressive display of support for your brothers and sisters, to the family members, to the children, to all of us, to those of us who consider ourselves New Yorkers and who consider ourselves Americans. This is a great moment for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Adams. We will now commence with the presentation of the medals. I'll ask the ceremonial officer to escort the mayor, the acting fire commissioner, and the acting chief of department to the front of the stage.
Mr. Mayor.
Our first medal is the Chief of Department, Peter J. Gansey Jr. Medal and New York State Honorary Fire Chiefs Association Medal awarded to Firefighter Darren Harsh of Squad 270. In April 2021, Firefighter Harsh and his fellow members responded to a fire that had spread throughout 3 stores in Queens. As the fire rapidly grew, a 20 by 15-foot section of the roof collapsed onto the firefighters in Engine 311. Firefighters Harsh quickly entered the unstable structure, searched the burning debris for a missing fire officer from Engine 311. He located the nozzle for the hose line, which he passed to firefighter Paul Jennings to extinguish the flames, and then continued searching, ultimately locating the missing member. Using a saw, he made a series of careful and calculated cuts to the debris that had trapped the injured member and quickly removed him, along with the members of Rescue 4 and Squad 270. His quick, decisive actions, using all of his training, saved the life of a fellow firefighter. For extreme bravery under great duress and personal risk to rescue one of New York's bravest from a life-threatening condition, the Chief of the Department, Peter J. Gansey Jr. Medal and New York State Honorary Fire Chiefs Association Medal is awarded to Firefighter Darren Harsh, Squad 270. Strictly business. Let's have a round of applause for Firefighter Harsh. Our next medal is the Brooklyn Citizens Medal, Firefighter Louis Valentino Award, presented to Lieutenant Keith Larson of Ladder 149. In May 2021, Lieutenant Larson led the members of Ladder 149 into a fire in a 6-story apartment building in Brooklyn. He entered one of the burning apartments and was immediately forced to the floor by the intense heat. Hearing an occupant gasping for air, he searched for it without a hose line yet in place, found the woman trapped and disoriented, and quickly removed her to safety. With the report of a second person missing, he returned to extremely dangerous conditions and removed the second victim as well. Thanks to his tremendous courage at this fire, 2 lives were saved. For his heroism that day, the Brooklyn Citizens Medal and Firefighter Louis Valentino Award is awarded to Lieutenant Keith Lawson, Ladder 149, the Castle on the Hill. The next medal is the Christopher J. Prescott Medal, awarded to paramedic Shawayne George of Station 32, paramedic Hugh Smith of Station 39, and Lieutenant Paul Artizone of Hashtag. In July 2021, rescue paramedics Smith and George responded to a lean-to type collapse in Brooklyn with 2 victims trapped inside. Despite the great danger they faced in an unstable environment, they bravely entered the structure to join the rescue effort. Under the guidance and the leadership of Lieutenant Artizone, the 3 members worked in close collaboration with the fire units, operations on the scene, and began simultaneous medical care of the 2 trapped individuals. It is often said paramedics bring emergency room to their patients. That was the case on this day when they administered life-saving, advanced life support treatment inside a dangerous structure in danger of additional collapse. For their swift, decisive, courageous actions, the Christopher J. Prescott Medal is awarded to paramedic Shawayne George of Station 32, paramedic Hugh Smith of Station 39, and Lieutenant Paul Artizone of Hashtag. Congratulations. Up next, the Hugh Bonner Medal, Honor Legion Medal, awarded to Lieutenant Patrick Toomey of Ladder 41. In January 2021, Lieutenant Toomey led the members of Ladder 41 to a fire on the 4th floor of a 7-story building. He courageously rushed to the fire floor and crawled down a 20-foot public hallway to an open apartment door where a fire was raging inside. Once inside, he conducted multiple searches, found several trapped unconscious residents, sheltered 2 trapped victims in place, and ultimately directed the rescue of 6 occupants. For his outstanding leadership and bravery throughout an incredibly difficult fire operation, the Hugh Bonner Medal and Honor Legion Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Patrick Toomey, Ladder 41, 41 truck. Our next medal is the Arroyo Medal, which is awarded for the first time today and is named in the memory of EMT Yadira Arroyo, who was killed in the line of duty in 2017. We will never forget her supreme sacrifice. This medal is awarded to EMT Tiffany Robledo of Station 40, EMT Christopher Wilnelia, and Lieutenant Dwight Scott of Station 17. In December 2021, EMTs Wilnelia and Robledo and Lieutenant Scott were at Station 17 when they were approached by several people asking for help at a pharmacy across the street where a person was inside stabbing multiple people with scissors and threatening others with a taser. Without hesitation, these brave members of EMS ran into the store where they isolated, disarmed, and restrained the assailant, saving the many customers and the staff inside. They then began to provide urgent care to the injured individuals. Thanks to their heroism that day, a dangerous individual was stopped from claiming the lives of others. In addition, the innocent injured victims were treated with the utmost medical care, which is the hallmark of FDNY EMS. For their courageous actions, the Yadira Arroyo Medal is awarded to EMT Tiffany Robledo, Station 40, EMT Christopher Wilnelia, and Lieutenant Dwight Scott of Station 17. Congratulations. Up next, the Emily Trevor Mary B. Warren Medal awarded to Lieutenant Benjamin Segner of Ladder 44. In February 2021, Lieutenant Segner led the members of Ladder 44 into a fire in a 3-story multiple dwelling with heavy black smoke bellowing from top floor windows. Fleeing occupants told him there was a young child trapped inside. Despite a wall of fire before him in a fully engulfed room, he crawled forward under extreme dangerous conditions and in zero visibility to find an unconscious child. He brought the child to the apartment window and worked with his fellow firefighters to remove the child to Ladder 44's bucket. From there, the young child was brought to the street and then transported to the hospital, receiving expert medical care along the way. For his incredible bravery to save the life of a young child trapped by fire, the Emily Trevor Mary B. Warren Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Benjamin Segner of Ladder 44, South Bronx. Our next award is the Thomas E. Crimmons Medal, presented to Firefighter Ryan Hall of Ladder 127. On a snowy day in February 2021, Ladder 127 responded to a 3-story home with smoke billowing from the top floor and panicked occupants yelling that there was still a woman inside the fire apartment. Firefighter Hall quickly went into the apartment, split the bedroom door at its upper hinge, advanced over what remained of the door, and was quickly forced to the ground by the extreme heat. He found the unconscious victim face down between the bed and the dresser, shielded her from the heat with his own body, and used all his strength to remove the victim through heavy clutter, heat, smoke, seconds before the room was fully engulfed in flames. For outstanding rescue under terribly adverse conditions, the Thomas E. Crimmons Medal is awarded to Firefighter Ryan Hall of Ladder 127, the Hillside Hurricanes. Our next award is the Thomas A. Kinney Memorial Medal, awarded to Firefighter Nicholas Marisano, Ladder 45. In October 2021, Firefighter Marisano responded to a fire in a 6-story multiple dwelling with a report of 2 elderly occupants trapped in a top-floor apartment. As he entered the apartment under severe heat with zero visibility and lapping overhead, he heard moans ahead of him. He pressed on despite the clutter collapsing around him, creating more obstacle in his path to escape. He quickly found one individual, removed him to safety, and then returned to find a second individual who was barely conscious in a sunken living room fully engulfed in flames. He removed the second victim to safety with the aid of his fellow firefighters. For acting with the utmost bravery and locating and removing 2 victims without the protection of a hose line, the Thomas A. Kinney Memorial Medal is awarded to Firefighter Nicholas Marisano, Ladder 45, the Might of the Heights. The next presentation is the Walter Scott Medal awarded to Firefighter Joseph Montgomery Jr., Ladder 44. In May 2021, Firefighter Montgomery responded to a fire on the 3rd floor of a 6-story multiple dwelling. Smoke was pushing through multiple windows, and there was heavy fire in the staircase. Firefighter Montgomery assisted with the removal of one individual from the area ladder, then descended the area ladder and entered the apartment because of reports of people trapped. In zero visibility, he found 2 motionless, unconscious victims in a bathroom doorway. Seconds later, he found the 3rd victim as well. Working with firefighters from multiple companies, he helped execute a rescue of 3 occupants trapped by fire. For great initiative and bravery, successfully coordinating the rescue of 3 victims under great duress, the Walter Scott Medal is awarded to Firefighter Joseph Montgomery Jr. of Ladder 44, South Bronx. Our next award is the John H. Prentice Medal, presented to Firefighter Robert Rivera, Ladder 41. This is the 2nd medal awarded for bravery at this fire. In January 2021, Ladder 41 responded to a fire on the 4th floor of a 7-story building. Firefighter Rivera used the can to reduce the extension of the fire at the ceiling level and allowed the forcible entry team critical seconds to search for trapped occupants. Those seconds helped his lieutenant locate an unresponsive child. Firefighter Rivera took the victim from his lieutenant, grasped the child closely to his chest to shield him from the roaring fire, and crawled past the fire, carrying the child to safety. For his expert ability to help control a raging fire and bravely rescuing a young child, the John H. Prentice Medal is awarded to Firefighter Robert Rivera, Ladder 41, 41 truck. Up next, the Henry D. Brookman Medal is awarded to Firefighter Rich Devine of Ladder 42. In April 2021, Ladder 42 responded to a fire in a private dwelling in the Bronx and found heavy smoke pushing from the front door as well as the windows on the 1st and 2nd floors. There were confirmed reports of people trapped on the 2nd floor. Firefighter Devine made his way to the floor above the fire, where he crawled and searched the cluttered, smoke-filled apartment and located an unconscious elderly woman lying on the floor. Using his body as a shield, the victim from the heat and flames, he removed her over and through obstacles, carrying the victim out of the apartment and down the interior stairs. For his quick, decisive actions in a rapidly deteriorating fire, the Henry D. Brookman Medal is awarded to Firefighter Richard Devine of Ladder 42, La Casa del Elefante.
Witches. Test. Test.
Our next medal is the Chief Ulysses Grant Medal, presented to Deputy Chief Mark Bonilla and Lieutenant Paul Artizone of the Hashtag Unit. This is the 2nd medal awarded for bravery at this incident. In July 2021, Deputy Chief Bonilla and Lieutenant Artizone responded to a partial collapse with 2 workers pinned beneath the collapsed wall. Deputy Chief Bonilla and Lieutenant Artizone coordinated with the rescue battalion that the rescue medics would need to continue to treat the patients as the extrication process was ongoing. They ensured that the members on the scene were in direct communication with the department doctors on the best treatment for the patients caught in a harrowing, life-threatening situation, and ensured all rescue medics operated safely. For their outstanding display of professionalism and leadership, the Chief Ulysses Grant Medal is awarded to Deputy Chief Mark Bonilla and Lieutenant Paul Artizone of the Haztec Unit. Our next award is the Hispanic Society 23rd Street Fire Memorial Medal of Valor, presented to Firefighter Daniel Hickey, Rescue 4. This is the second Medal for Bravery awarded at this fire. In April 2021, Rescue 4 responded to a fire in 3 stores in Queens. As the fire grew, the roof collapsed onto the firefighters of Engine 311. Firefighter Hickey immediately began to search the debris for a missing member from Engine 311. Reaching under the debris, he grabbed the missing member's legs and felt that he was alive and trying to move. After communicating the estimated location of the officer's torso, he continued cutting, removing pieces of the roof while members circulated new batteries and saw blades into the operation. For his courage, determination, ingenuity that helped save the life of a fellow firefighter, the Hispanic Society 23rd Street Fire Memorial Medal of Valor is awarded to firefighter Daniel Hickey of Rescue 4, Brothers in Battle. Next is the Michael J. Delahanty Medal, presented to firefighter Paul Jennings, Squad 270. This is the third Medal for Bravery awarded at this fire. In April 2021, firefighter Jennings was part of a team of outstanding firefighters who helped locate and safely remove the fire officer from Engine 311 who was trapped by a roof collapse at a fire in Queens. Firefighter Jennings located the hose line from Engine 311 after the collapse and bravely held back the flames as his fellow members worked to perform an intricate rescue of their fellow firefighter. For his pivotal role in a successful operation that saved the life of one of New York City's bravest, the Michael J. Delahanty Medal is awarded to firefighter Paul Jennings of Squad 270. Strictly business. Next up, the Mayor Fiorello H. Laguardia Medal, awarded to firefighter Brian Gorman, ladder 114. In October 2021, firefighter Gorman responded to a fire on the second floor of a 3-story brownstone with multiple people trapped, including children. Firefighter Gorman quickly ascended the stairs to the floor above the fire and performed a search under zero visibility and high heat. He was able to quickly locate 2 semi-conscious victims in the 3rd floor bathroom. He brought one to safety back down the stairs, then returned to remove the second victim as the fire rapidly grew around him. For his outstanding bravery that saved 2 occupants from an intense growing fire, the Mayor Fiorello H. Laguardia Medal is awarded to firefighter Brian Gorman of ladder 114. Tally ho! Our next award is the William F. Conrad Medal, presented to Lieutenant Daniel McWilliams, Ladder 103. In November 2021, Lieutenant McWilliams led the members of Ladder 103 to a 4-story multiple dwelling with thick black smoke pushing from the windows. There was a report of a trapped occupant. Lieutenant McWilliams began to search the fire apartment, headed towards the rear bedroom, and found a semi-conscious male victim on the floor. He carefully coordinated a rescue of the individual from inside the burning building, ultimately removing the injured occupant through a window and down a portable ladder. For true bravery, passing the main body of fire without the benefit of a hose line at great personal risk, the William F. Conrad Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Daniel McWilliams of Ladder 103, Pride of Sheffield Avenue. Next is the Chief John McElligott Medal and Firefighters Fitzpatrick and Frisbee Award, presented to Lieutenant Ryan Johnston, Engine 289. In August 2021, Lieutenant Johnston led the members of Ladder 138 to a fire in a private dwelling in Queens. Flames were visible emanating from the first floor, and people were trapped on the upper floors. He entered the building, passed feeling occupants, and ascended the stairs to the second-floor bedroom. His search produced a semi-conscious occupant just below the window. He wrapped his arms around the victim and carried him down the stairs to safety before returning to the building to continue to combat the fire. For outstanding leadership and rescuing a trapped occupant from a growing fire, the Chief John J. McElligott Medal, Firefighters Fitzpatrick and Frisbee Award is presented to Lieutenant Ryan Johnston of Engine 289, the Corona Tigers. Our next award is the Thomas F. Doherty Medal, presented to Firefighter Justin Hespeler, Ladder 174. In November 2021, Firefighter Hespeler responded to a private dwelling fire, positioned the truck to the front of the building, and went to the rear where multiple civilians were reporting a baby was still trapped inside. He ascended a portable ladder as conditions inside worsened dramatically. As the order to evacuate was given, he found the crib with an unconscious infant inside and quickly removed the child to the window to safety. For his daring tenacity and incredible bravery to rescue an infant from a rapidly growing fire, the Thomas F. Doherty Medal is awarded to Firefighter Justin Hespeler of Ladder 174, Snyder Island. Our next presentation is the Albert S. Johnston Medal, awarded to Lieutenant Jason Hickey of Marine Operations. In September 2021, while staffing the Marine Training Unit in the East River, Lieutenant Hickey received an urgent call for a person in the water near the RFK Bridge. Lieutenant Hickey donned a swift water vest and tethered to perform a water rescue, just as the victim was swept into a stormwater discharge tunnel. Lieutenant Hickey swam to the victim, entered the tunnel at great personal risk, removed the victim, and battled strong currents to eventually rescue the victim from the water. For his bravery, fortitude, quick decision-making, and placing the victim's well-being above his own, the Albert S. Johnston Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Jason Hickey of Marine Operations. Congratulations. Our next award is the Near Timid Society Franklin Delano Roosevelt Medal presented to firefighter James Mcgee, ladder 13. In January 2021, then probationary firefighter Mcgee was detailed to ladder 43 and responded to a fire on the 16th floor of a high-rise apartment building. He entered the apartment, crawling and searching until he found an unconscious occupant. He shielded the victim from the flames and removed the occupant from the fire, saving a life. Nice work, Proby. For his heroism and bravery to save the life of a trapped occupant, the Near Timid Society Franklin Delano Roosevelt Medal is awarded to firefighter James R. Mcgee of ladder 13, the pride of Yorkville. Up next, the Bella Stifle Medal, awarded to Lieutenant Michael Cucarillo, ladder 114. This is the second medal for bravery at this fire. On October 2021, Lieutenant Michael Cucarillo led the members of ladder 114 to a fire on the second floor of a 3-story brownstone where multiple people were trapped, including children. He made his way to the second floor battling heat and smoke and heavy clutter and moved a large object blocking an entrance to enter a room where he found a young unconscious child. He shielded the child from the flames, removed him from the fire, and returned once more to continue searching. For his incredible determination and leadership that rescued a young child from an intense fire, the Bella Stifle Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Michael Cucarillo, ladder 114. Tally ho! Our next award is the Tracy Allen Lee Medal, presented to paramedics Ronald Wolf Sr., Margot Loth, and EMTs Dylan O'Shea and David Mumford, all of Station 58. In September 2021, these 4 members were returning to their station from calls involved in flooded environments during a major storm when they came across a vehicle that was partially submerged in water with 6 occupants trapped inside. Utilizing the rear step of one ambulance to help access the vehicle, these members removed 6 people through the driver's and rear passenger windows of the vehicle to the rear of their vehicles and brought them to a dry area and sheltered them in place. Paramedic Wolf then removed another vehicle from the floodwaters, saving that occupant as well. In all, these 4 members rescued 7 people from the floodwatering, put their own lives at risk to save others. For their heroism, bravery, the Tracy Allen Lee Medal, awarded to paramedics Ronald Wolf Sr., Margot Loth, and EMTs Dylan O'Shea and David Mumford of Station 58, the Junkyard Dogs. Next up, the Vincent J. Kane Medal is presented to Lieutenant Salvatore Belmonte, Ladder 102. In November 2021, Lieutenant Belmonte led the members of Ladder 102 to a fire on the 4th floor of a 7-story apartment building. He encountered thick, superheated smoke in the interior of the apartment and, without a hose line yet in place, searched for trapped victims and found an unconscious elderly occupant. He quickly retraced his steps and removed the victim from the apartment to safety. For outstanding bravery, decisiveness, and leadership at a rapidly growing fire, the Vincent J. Kane Medal is presented to Lieutenant Salvatore Belmonte of Ladder 102, the Bedford Express. Next is the Brummer Medal, awarded to firefighter Corey Wilcox, Ladder 170. On Thanksgiving night, 2021, firefighter Wilcox responded to a fire on the 2nd floor of a 2-story building in Brooklyn. Under punishing conditions and at great personal risk, firefighter Wilcox pushed into the right rear bedroom and performed a search in zero visibility and high heat and found an unconscious occupant. Working closely with his fellow firefighters, he removed the occupant to safety and then returned to continue battling the fire. For quick actions under extreme conditions that were directly responsible for the survival of this victim, the Brummer Medal is awarded to firefighter Corey Wilcox of Ladder 170, Canarसी's bravest. The next award is the Frank W. Cradell Medal, awarded to firefighter Amalpreet Singh, Ladder 116. In July 2021, firefighter Singh responded to a fire on the 2nd floor of a multiple dwelling with reports of an occupant still inside. In zero visibility, he crawled down the hallway towards a rear bedroom where he found an unconscious victim next to the bed. He quickly removed the occupant from the fire department to the care of EMS members on the scene. For his persistence and bravery to find and remove a trapped individual from the fire, the Frank W. Cradell Medal is awarded to firefighter Amalpreet Singh of Ladder 116, the Flaming Skulls. The next award is the Emerald Society Medal, presented to Lieutenant Patrick Matarazza, Ladder 56. In September 2021, Lieutenant Matarazza led the members of Ladder 56 to a fire in a private dwelling in the Bronx, with reports of an occupant trapped inside. With fire on the 1st floor, he searched the 2nd floor and then the attic, finding a victim lying on the floor gasping for air as the fire conditions worsened. He radioed for the area ladder to come to the attic window and performed the arduous task of removing the victim to safety. For his bravery, aggressive search that saved the life of an occupant trapped by flames and smoke, the Emerald Society Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Patrick Matarazza, Ladder 56, the Fordham House. Our next award is the Chief Wesley Williams Medal, presented to Captain Peter Hayden, Division 13. In January 2021, Captain Hayden led the members of Ladder 137 to a basement fire in a private dwelling in Queens. There was a report of a missing child, so he entered the fire building and began the search without the protection of a charged hose line. He found the child on the second floor, removed the child to safety, and returned inside to continue to search for others who may have been trapped. For quick, decisive, life-saving actions under extreme fire condition, the Chief Wesley Williams Medal is awarded to Captain Peter Hayden of Division 11. Congratulations. The next presentation is the Susan Wagner Medal, awarded to Firefighter Andrew Gabor, Ladder 138. This is the second medal for bravery at this fire. In August 2021, Firefighter Gabor responded to a fire in a private dwelling in Queens. Smoke and flames were visible as he arrived. He quickly headed to the second floor and searched the bedroom, finding a semi-conscious occupant on the floor. He carried the victim down the stairs through the cluttered first floor and out to the street where FDNY members began pre-hospital care, then returned to continue to search for other trapped occupants. For his heroic, life-saving actions at this difficult fire, the Susan Wagner Medal is awarded to Firefighter Andrew Gabor of Ladder 138, the Corona Tigers. Next is the Holy Name Society Medal, presented to Firefighter Edwin Rodriguez, Ladder Company 138. This is the third medal for bravery at this fire. In August 2021, Firefighter Rodriguez responded to a fire in a private dwelling in Queens. Smoke and flames were visible as he arrived, and he had a report of a missing child inside. Crawling on the floor of a second-floor bedroom, he located the missing child under a crib, shielded her from flames, and quickly removed her through the interior stairs to EMS members for continued care. His extreme bravery under grueling conditions led to the removal of a child from a growing fire. For that, the Holy Name Society Medal is awarded to Firefighter Edwin Rodriguez of Ladder Company 138, the Corona Tigers. Next up, the Columbia Association Medal, awarded to Firefighter Brendan Ielpi, Rescue 2. In May 2021, firefighter ILP responded to a fire in a two-story mixed occupancy building in Brooklyn. There was a heavy fire on the first floor and trapped occupants on the second floor. He used a portable ladder to reach the second floor and began searching multiple rooms, finding an unconscious occupant. He shielded the victim from the flames and removed her to safety. For enduring punishing conditions and demonstrating tremendous bravery and training, the Columbia Association Medal is awarded to firefighter Brendan ILP of Rescue 2. The Rescue! Next is the Chief James Scullion Medal, awarded to EMT Andrew Octara, Station 47. In July 2021, EMT Octara responded to a swimmer in distress in Queens and in an area with no lifeguards on duty. He could see a person in danger of drowning. He ran from the boardwalk to the shoreline and soon controlled the situation and utilized a rescue torpedo to assist the patient back to shore. He pulled the patient to the beach and began rendering aid with his partner until additional resources arrived. EMT Octara and his partner transferred care of the patient, who was now alert and breathing, to additional incoming EMS units. For his quick, brave actions that saved the life of an individual in great danger of drowning, the Chief James Scullion Medal is awarded to EMT Andrew J. Octara of Station 47. Best on the beach. Our next award is the Captain's Dennis W. Lane Memorial Medal, presented to Lieutenant Richard Ferrassi Jr., Ladder 146. In April 2021, Lieutenant Ferrassi led the members of Ladder 146 to a fire on the second floor of a multiple dwelling. Faced with heavy fire, he searched the extremely cluttered apartment under high heat and found an unconscious person. He carefully removed the victim to safety and then returned inside to continue the search for others who may have been trapped. For his brave actions that saved the life of an unconscious occupant by fire, the Captain Dennis W. Lane Memorial Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Richard Ferrassi Jr. of Ladder 146. The Thunderbolts. Next up, the Uniform Fire Officers Association Medal, presented to Captain Raymond McCarthy, Ladder 142. In May 2021, Captain McCarthy led the members of Ladder 142 to a fire in a three-story multiple dwelling with flames blowing out of the top floor windows. After his team forced the door and began searching, Captain McCarthy found an unconscious occupant, removed them to safety with his fellow firefighters, and then continued searching, finding a second unconscious person and once again removing them to safety. In all, 4 people were removed from this fire. For bravely leading and orchestrating his company's aggressive search of this fire department without the protection of a hose line, the Uniform Fire Officers Association Medal is presented to Captain Raymond McCarthy of Ladder 142, Ozone Park. Next is the Arthur J. Lawful Memorial Medal presented to Firefighter John Leonore, Engine 65. In January 2021, Firefighter Leonore was detailed to Ladder 35 and responded to a fire on the 14th floor of a Manhattan apartment building. An elderly woman was trapped inside. Met with thick black smoke, banked down to the floor with high heat and zero visibility. He searched and located an unconscious victim and quickly removed the person to safety. For great initiative, fortitude, and above all else, true bravery, the Arthur J. Lawful Memorial Medal is awarded to Firefighter John Leonore, Engine 65, working in Ladder 35, the opera fans. Up next, the Dr. Albert A. Sinelli Medal, presented to Firefighter James Suter, Ladder 41. In January 2021, Firefighter Suter responded to a fire on the 4th floor of a 7-story building. Utilizing 2 separate 24-foot portable ladders, one to reach the scaffolding and the second to reach the floor where the people were trapped, he took part in a daring rescue of multiple trapped and burned occupants from the window of the fire apartment. For his bravery, determination, ingenuity, and total disregard for his own personal safety, the Dr. Albert A. Sinelli Medal is awarded to Firefighter James Suter III of Ladder 41, 41 truck. Next is the Fire Chiefs Association Memorial Medal, presented to Lieutenant Michael Fletcher, Ladder 116. In November 2021, Lieutenant Fletcher led the members of Ladder 116 to a fire in a 4th floor apartment in a 6-story building that was set back 500 feet from the street. This would be a difficult fire, and there was a report of a trapped occupant. Expertly searching the apartment, he found an unconscious victim in a corner, wedged between the wall and the sofa. Working with firefighters in his command, he quickly removed the occupant to safety. For an act of selfless bravery in a cluttered apartment filled with high heat and no visibility, the Fire Chiefs Association Memorial Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Michael Fletcher of Ladder 116, the Flaming Skulls. Next is the Community Mayors, Inc. Lieutenant Robert R. Dolney Medal, presented to Firefighter Frank Vitulli, Ladder 102. This is the second medal for bravery awarded from this fire. In November 2021, Firefighter Vitulli responded to a fire on the 4th floor of a 7-story apartment building. Encountering thick, superheated smoke in the interior of the apartment without a hose line yet in place, he located an unconscious elderly occupant and removed the individual 20 feet down the smoke-charged public hallway. For outstanding bravery that saved the life of a New Yorker trapped by flames and smoke, The Community Mayors, Inc. Lieutenant Robert R. Dolney Medal is awarded to Firefighter Frank Vituli of Ladder 102. The Bedford Express. Next is the Lieutenant Kirby McElhern Medal, presented to EMT Minhaj Bouillon of Emergency Medical Division, Public Safety Answering Center 1. In March 2021, EMT Bouillon was functioning as an assignment receiving dispatcher and received a call from a person who had been shot by his roommate and was locked inside his room with his girlfriend to protect him from the shooter. This incident became a prolonged hostage situation. For more than an hour, EMT Bouillon calmly provided life-saving first aid instructions over the phone and relayed critical information to law enforcement and responding units to ensure their safety during this tense, dangerous incident. The caller and his girlfriend were ultimately removed to safety. EMT Bouillon's action on the call set the standard for compassion in the face of adversity, and for that, the Lieutenant Kirby McElhern Medal is awarded to EMT Minhaj Bouillon of PSAC 1. It all starts here. Our next medal is the Battalion Chief Frank T. Telemundo Medal, awarded to Firefighter Kevin Healy, Ladder 120. In November 2020, Firefighter Healy responded to a fire in a private dwelling with multiple occupants trapped inside. He ascended the stairs to the floor above the fire, crawled on the floor to search, and heard faint cries for help. He located a semi-conscious victim, removed him to safety as his fellow firefighters aggressively battled the fire. For a life-saving act of valor, the Battalion Chief Frank T. Telemundo Medal is awarded to Firefighter Kevin Healy of Ladder 120. The tradition continues. Next is the Dr. John F. Cannell Medal, presented to Captain Francis Cummins, Division 11. In April 2021, Captain Cummins led the members of Engine 235 to an apartment fire, and while searching for victims in a long, dark, smoke-filled hallway, located an unconscious occupant. He quickly removed the victim to safety, passing them along to additional responding firefighters, and then returned to lead the engine operations and extinguishment of the fire. For his quick actions and leadership to both save a life and extinguish the fire, the Dr. John F. Cannell Medal is awarded to Captain Francis Cummins of Division 11, working in Engine 235, the Eye of Bed-Stuy. Next is the Fire Bell Club Medal, presented to Firefighter Michael Decker, ladder 32. In September 2021, Firefighter Decker was detailed to ladder 52 and responded to an early morning fire in an apartment building. He ascended the fire escape to the 5th floor, entered the apartment, located an unconscious occupant, sheltered them through the flames and smoke, and then rescued them through the interior stairwell. For his extraordinary brave efforts to save a life of a New Yorker trapped by fire, the Fire Bell Club Medal is awarded to Firefighter Michael Decker of ladder 32, the Gun Hill Gang. Next up, the Firefighter David J. DeFranco Medal, presented to Firefighter Patrick Thornton, Marine 8. In June 2021, Firefighter Thornton responded aboard Marine 8 to a call for distress for a vehicle taking on water. They responded in 2 minutes to find a ship in distress when a sudden large wave hit the boat and sent 2 people into the rough water. 1 person was pulled onto Marine 8. Firefighter Thornton dove into the water to rescue the other person who had been pulled under the now sinking boat. He quickly brought the victim to surface and then safely onto Marine 8. For great courage during a dangerous water rescue, the Firefighter David J. DeFranco Medal is awarded to Firefighter Patrick Thornton of Marine 8. Congratulations. Our next award is the Deputy Commissioner Christine R. Godick Medal, presented to the Fire Marshals Michael O'Neill and Michael Pritchett. In December 2020, Fire Marshal O'Neill determined a 3-alarm fire was caused by arson. He was assigned to work with Fire Marshal Pritchett on a multi-layered investigation that quickly developed a person of interest and a motive. The fire was started to conceal the theft of a large sum of money. A multi-state investigation in close collaboration with the Brooklyn DA's office led to the apprehension of the suspect who was charged with arson and burglary. For their outstanding investigation that led to the apprehension of a dangerous individual who endangered the lives of New Yorkers through arson, the Deputy Commissioner Christine R. Godick Medal is awarded to Fire Marshals Michael O'Neill of Citywide South and Michael Pritchett, Special Investigations Unit. Congratulations. Next is the firefighter Kevin C. Kane Medal, presented to firefighter Brian Murphy, ladder 29. In April 2021, firefighter Murphy responded to a fire in a 13th floor apartment. Faced with heavy clutter, thick smoke, and a rapidly growing fire, he began his search. He found an unconscious victim among the debris in the living room and worked with his fellow firefighters to remove the individual from further harm. He bravely operated in a dangerous environment without a hose line yet in place, and for that, the firefighter Kevin C. Kane Medal is awarded to firefighter Bryant Murphy of ladder 29. 29 truck. Next is the Captain John J. Drennan Memorial Medal, presented to firefighter Stephen Bonick, Squad 41. In November 2021, firefighter Bonick responded to a 15th floor fire where reports of trapped occupants on the upper floors. He found an unconscious individual in the public hallway and removed the occupant to a lower floor for immediate care before returning to help extinguish the fire. For his bravery and determination at this difficult fire, the Captain John J. Drennan Memorial Medal is awarded to firefighter Stephen Bonick of Squad 41, best of both worlds. Up next is the Jack Pinchink Medal, presented to EMTs Matthew Faith and Carmen Ruiz, Station 20. In August 2021, EMTs Faith and Ruiz responded to Orchard Beach in the Bronx for a confirmed lightning strike on the beach near the water with multiple victims. Operating in an open area during a thunder and lightning storm is extremely dangerous, but they did so bravely, rendering expert medical care and removing several patients from the beach to safety. For their bravery and unwavering commitment to their patients in dangerous environment, the Jack Pinchink Medal is awarded to EMTs Matthew Faith and Carmen Ruiz of Station 20. Congratulations. Next is the Lieutenant James Coran, New York Firefighters Burn Center Foundation Medal, presented to Engine 161. In March 2021, as a separate fifth alarm fire raised on Staten Island, Engine 161 found themselves responding to another serious fire in a 3-story private dwelling with smoke and flames venting from every door and window on the first and second floors. They put a hose line in place and went to work, extinguishing all the fire on the first floor, then descending the stairs to battle the fire on the second floor as well. These firefighters operated under extreme heat and zero visibility and overcame an inoperable hydrant, a burst hose length, and heavy clutter inside the building that made the movement of the hose line extremely difficult. Despite the challenges, they were undeterred, and their coordination at this fire was flawless. For their brave actions and for keeping with the finest firefighting traditions of the Fdny, the Lieutenant James Coran New York Firefighters Burn Center Foundation Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Richard Lepardo Jr., Firefighters Michael Brusca, Salvatore Gandolfo Jr., Daniel Quinn, and Paul Campbell of Engine 161, the Beach Boys. The next award is the Firefighter Thomas R. L. Sassa Memorial Medal, presented to Rescue 4 and Squad 270. This is the 4th Medal for Bravery awarded for this fire. In April 2021, Rescue 4 and Squad 270 responded to a fire that had spread to 3 stores in Queens. As the fire grew, a 20 by 15-foot section of the roof collapsed onto the firefighters of Engine 311. Their heroic actions of these two companies prevented the death of a fellow New York City firefighter. They found the hose line from Engine 311 and used it to fight the flames still roaring around them. They summoned every tool on the rig and worked in perfect unions to find and carefully extricate the trapped Fdny member. For their bravery, professionalism, and dedication that saved the life of one of New York's bravest, the firefighter Thomas R. Elisasser Memorial Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Frederick Ill III, firefighters Daniel Hickey, Alfred Francis, Rod Ford, Alex Sweet, and Thomas Boland rescued 4 brothers in battle, and Captain Stephen Forlenza, firefighters Paul Jennings, Richard Badilli, Darren Harsh, Juan A. Laguardia II, and Jonathan Hoffman, Squad 270, strictly business. Once again, Captain Stephen Ferlenza. Firefighters Paul Jennings, Richard Badilli, Darren Harsh, Juan A. LaGranja II, Jonathan Hoffman, Squad 270. Our final medal is the World Trade Center Memorial Medal, presented to Ladder 41. This is the third medal for bravery awarded for this fire. In January 2021, Ladder 41 responded to a fire on the 4th floor of a 7-story multiple dwelling in the Bronx. Attacking from the inside and encountering heavy smoke in the public hallway, using portable ladders on the ground and on scaffolding, and ascending to the roof for a possible roof rope rescue, 3 members utilized all their training and abilities to rescue individuals trapped inside. Passing fire without the protection of a hose line, searching for occupants through smoke and flames, they found and rescued 6 New Yorkers from a dangerous growing fire. For an extraordinary operation that exemplified the teamwork and bravery that are the hallmark of the Fdny, the World Trade Center Memorial Medal is awarded to Lieutenant Patrick Toomey, Firefighters Robert Rivera, John McGuire, James Suter III, Peter Quinn, and Kevin Hallinan of Ladder 41. 41 truck! Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for all of this year's medals winners? Everyone, please rise for the benediction by Fdny Chaplain, Reverend V. Simpson Turner, Jr.
Let us pray. Eternal God, we thank you for this glorious day. But, oh God, we also pause today that while we are celebrating, we remember those who are mourning today. Our neighbors in Buffalo, our fellow citizens in Texas. We also remember the Malvo family, the Maiello family, the Gerhardt family, and the Klein families. Those brave men who gave their lives for this city. Oh God, now as we pause at the citadel of government, we thank you for my friend and our mayor, Eric Adams. We ask, oh God, that you will bless him with the determination of Daniel. Grant him the unyielding wisdom of Solomon and equip him with the fierce audacity of hope like David. Gracious Father, we certainly honor these heroes who, when given such an arduous task, stood in the midst of uncertainty and didn't waver. Their training, their dedication and commitment to this city is a part of their exemplary service. And it's because of people like them who daily sojourn to keep us and our city safe. Mahatma Gandhi once said, the highest way to find yourself is to lose oneself in the service of others. Now, God, we pray as this celebration ends and the work begins, that you will once again endow the members of service in the Fdny with intestinal fortitude to stand in the heat on the fire floor, or by giving and administering CPR to someone who is in need. Yes, God, now the Fdny is the premier fire service in the cosmos. And we let the city of New York know that no matter where you are, anywhere in our city, from Fordham to Canarsie, from the South Bronx to St. Albans, from Bed-Stuy to Brownsville, from Harlem to Elmhurst, from West Brighton to Williamsburg, and in all of the 5 boroughs, the Fdny will continue to serve this city with distinction and honor, saving lives and property. God has enabled the Fdny to let in the New York City people know that to have no fear. With God's help, the Fdny is always near. In the city that never sleeps, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. When others go the other way, the Fdny is coming your way. And we are the creme de la creme. We are often imitated and never duplicated. Why? Because we are the Fdny. And today I proclaim over our city and all of us that are here, the best is yet to come. It is in your magnificent name we ask these blessings, O God. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Mayor, Acting Fire Commissioner, Acting Chief of Department, and other members of the executive staff, thank you for joining us at today's Medal Day ceremony. Before we end, we would like to take a group photo of the medalists with the Mayor, Acting Fire Commissioner, and the Acting Chief of Department. Medalists, please rise and remain at your seats while the fire department photographer organizes the photo. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you.